talk a little bit about the carrier, putting the bunnies in the carrier. I prefer the carriers that have a top opening. The tighter the space inside for the bunnies when you're bonding them, the better. It's nice, easy access through the top. That way, in case you have a fight going on, you can get in there. So we have Joey and Abby in here tonight, and once in the carrier, what you can do is you can take them for a car ride, and that sounds stressful, and that's the idea. It is supposed to be stressful. The thing about it is that the bunnies don't so much associate the negative part of the ride and stressed out about that so much as they do the comfort they get from each other while they're on this stressful situation. And hopefully they turn to each other for comfort, and therefore the bond starts to grow stronger. We're still not out of the woods with these two, are we, Joey? No, buddy, we're not. But we're hoping that we can be. The other thing, sometimes I don't like to go for a car ride with them by myself, unless it's a pair I'm really, really feeling comfortable with. This pair probably falls into that category. I usually like to have another person with me. That way they can get into the carrier and stop any fighting that may start while I'm driving. I've never really had a situation where I've had fighting while I'm driving. I have had fighting when the carrier is just stationary like this. So it's important once you get them in the carrier to get them moving. Obviously with this pair we don't have that problem. Sometimes if I can't go for a car ride, I might you can put them up on the counter in the kitchen while you're making stir fry. That's a lot of noise, and you can watch them, and that saves a little time. And sometimes people will put them on the washing machine while they're running a load, but I get a little worried of that because they could, the carrier could fall off the machine if the load gets unbalanced, right? We've all seen that action that the washing machine can do when the load's unbalanced. So keep a good eye on them if you're going to do that. Sometimes I'll just put them in the carrier and put them on the counter while I'm on the coffee table while I'm watching TV. I've done that quite a bit with some pairs. So I don't particularly like the way we have a lot of empty space in here because they're smaller bunnies. I would have liked to have gone, if I had a smaller carrier, I would be using a smaller carrier. I use this carrier when I'm doing bunnies up to, I've done a Flemish Giant and a New Zealand in here, and that works out really well because it's a really tight space and it really forces them to snuggle together. With these two, I've had them where she's on one side and he's on the other, which is not at all what I want. I definitely want them snuggled together. So I wish I had a smaller carrier to use for these two for this situation, but I don't. So I hope that helps a little bit with the understanding of how we do carrier rides in the car. Of course, the bumpier the ride, the better. The one thing you want to remember with bonding is that there's lots of techniques, there's lots of different things to try. Don't stick with one thing that's not working and just keep doing it over and over again expecting to get a different result. Move on to another technique. I think that people are going to be posting a lot of good ideas on Facebook site about things that they've tried that maybe have worked. You may come up with techniques of your own. The important thing is that the bunnies be safe and comfortable and not get injured during the process. And sometimes this process can take months, many, many months. I have a pair that I'm working on that I'm on month 3, and I still am not past the fighting stage. And some people might say, why do you continue? Because once the bond is formed, if I thought the bond wasn't going to form, I wouldn't continue. And there's signs that, if they're just fighting all the time, then obviously it's probably not going to work. And I've had pairs like that, but this pair exhibits a lot of positive signs along with their fighting, and so I continue to work with them. Plus, one of them is a foster bunny that needs to be a permanent foster. She can't really leave the house again anyway. So whether she remains here as a single or a pair it's going to happen. She needs to stay here. So I guess from that standpoint, I'm just giving her the extra time that I have to give her to try. and hoping that it works with the boy I'm trying her with. You may not have the patience or the time to go for a bonding that long. Usually within a week or two I can tell whether or not it's worth continuing, and you probably can too. Although I've had pairs that I've given up on after a month that people have had at their homes that I've been working with on and off, and they end up bonding after a few months. So it's really hard to know sometimes what's going on in their little bunny heads as far as the bonding process goes. But don't be afraid to try. It's best if you can do several play dates ahead of time to see if it's going to work before you try adopting a bunny. The worst case scenario is to end up with a bunny or two single bunnies, and that's what a lot of people sometimes end up with. So if you can work with your local shelter or an HRS chapter to find a mate for your bunny, that's probably the ideal way to go. But if you're doing it on your own, know that throwing two bunnies together, you could end up with two single bunnies, and I think there's a lot of people in that scenario. And at that point, you might as well try and get two pairs. But again, making sure that you have help with it and are able to return one if it doesn't work out, because you don't want to end up with three singles or four singles. Moving on from bonded pairs to threesomes, foursomes, and so forth, it can be done. The dynamics are a little bit different. I've been told that 7 is the perfect number, but I've never tried to put 7 bunnies together. I think that's beyond my scope anyway. So here we are with Abby and Joey, so let's continue to wish them good luck and send them good vibes. Day 5, and they still are not ready to spend the night together, I don't think. So, and when they do spend their first night together, it's in an X-Pen in my bathroom where I can get to them really, really fast, right next to my room. I don't leave them downstairs or in another room where I can't hear them. And I try and do it like on a Friday night where they might spend their first day together on a Saturday, where the most I might be gone for 30 minutes or an hour during that time, where there's always somebody